What's going on? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today is February the 12th. I want to give you a quick pre-market update, go over some of the hot movers and what big money is doing today. Before we get into any of that, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So starting off with data points, you have the dreaded CPI. So forecast right now, month over month is 0.3, year over year is 3.1. These are the current estimates. So majority thinks 3.1. You do have Goldman, for instance, and a couple others saying 3.2. Deutsche on the flip side saying it's going to be 2.9, so it should be a fun ride. Aside from that though, depending on the CPI data, that's going to be people's appetite for risk. So if it does come in significantly lower than expectations, then you're going to see a very nice push higher in the broader market. So there's that. Or flip side, if it does come in hotter, then like people's appetite for risk will just go down like crazy. But you are seeing a little bit of a pre-market or pre-data recovery. So NASDAQ is up 0.29, S&P it is up 0.14, Dow is down slightly 0.01%. So nothing really crazy. I feel like a lot of that optimism has to do with companies unveiling their earnings after hours yesterday, and many of them did come in better than anticipated. But moving on from that, I'll kind of talk on some of those. SoFi is up 1.01%. And the reason why they are up most likely is because of Upstart. So they had their earnings absolutely beat massively, so it is up 25% right now. So I think SoFi is piggybacking off of that. No news associated to SoFi today, but then again, they always like to put their news out at 9 a.m. So I think pre-market isn't their thing for news. But aside from that, 11.67% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 125.62 million shares overall are being shorted. So NASDAQ did disclose the new numbers yesterday, so they submitted that. So as of January the 31st, there was 126.37 million shares overall are being shorted. So shorts did return roughly around 6 million shares between January the 15th and January the 31st. Key point to watch for right now, so with it at 1494, it is trading between this pivot and this S1, so 1470 is going to be a strong support. 1512 followed by 1553 are going to be the next strong support and resistance points. And honestly, with CPI, like positive or negative, I could see both spectrums being touched. So should be a fun ride, like I said. And when it comes down to companies unveiling the earnings, SMCI definitely did do okay. So they missed on earnings per share. They did beat on revenue. And then not only that, though, they did kind of give mixed guidance. So their revenue was cut from, looks like 26 to 30 billion to 23.5 to 25 billion. I think all in all, even though their earnings wasn't all that great, it still wasn't the level of fraud and just craziness that people were really anticipating. So I think that's kind of causing it to go higher a little bit. At the same time, they did announce a private placement of 700 million, 2.25% convertible note due to 2028. So market again doesn't seem to care all that much about it. So just the fact that they're alive and are kind of showing revenue, I think that's clearly enough for the broader market. But aside from that though, shorts, 19.58% of the free float is being shorted, works at be 98.01 million shares. Shorts did increase a small amount, so it went from around 16% short interest to 19.58 into their earnings. So I think shorts were anticipating for them to miss, but with it right now at $43, it is trading between this R3 and this R2. So $39.94 is going to be a strong support that you'll just really want to watch for that to hold. Flip side, $44.24 is going to be the next strong target. And honestly, I can probably see that being touched regardless of CPI today. Just because I think the consensus in Wall Street does feel that $50 is kind of next for this stock. So let me know if you agree or not. What's your general thoughts on all of that? And so moving on from here though, you have ticker AIFF, so Firefly. It did go up 170% yesterday, kind of piggybacking off that news today. So it's up another 26%, and that's because of this. So it looks like Firefly Neuroscience accepted into NVIDIA Connect program. Pretty good stuff. Haven't really read too much into it, but I think anything, whenever someone brings up either Palantir, Nvidia, whether like those companies invested or they just have some partnership in some capacity, such as this, stocks just skyrocket, right? So something to kind of consider. Looking here as well, the market cap is 66.74 million. So you're going to have crazy swings, but historically, just looking over the last 5 years, it does have spikes, but it usually goes down. So just tread with caution. You do your own due diligence at the end of the day. 30.29% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 746.82 thousand shares overall are being shorted. With today's news, or yesterday's news, I guess, it did go up. So shorts brought their A game, brought it from 20.87% to the 30% short interest. So shorts definitely did double down. So anticipate them to be fairly active today. With it at $10 and change, it is trading between this R3 and this R2 in the classic. So 759 and then 1153 is going to be the next strong target / resistance points. Intel, so they are gaining some pretty good momentum, and that's largely because of this. So I think generally a lot of people knew that Trump was going to be just focused on the states, and if you invested accordingly from that mentality, then you'd be doing so far fairly well, because with steel recently announced as well. But aside from that, Intel potentially would benefit from just chips being made in the US, as what Vance stated right here. So yeah, it's all perception, and right now the market is favoring Intel just solely because they are American. Nothing wrong with that whatsoever. At the same time, I think a lot of people have been looking at Intel as a pretty good value play on a side note, because they haven't really done jack all over the last 10 years. It is down 37.71%. So absolutely crazy. So I think there is a lot more upside than down at this stage in the game. Right now, short interest 2.45% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 106.06 million shares. Oddly, it is rather high for being a large market cap stock, so it's not a squeeze play whatsoever, but it's interesting to see shorts at this level. So they do have, I guess, they're pouncing on the fear, if that kind of makes sense. But as far as right now with that 22 and change, it is trading between this R2 and this R1. 2160 is going to be a strong support. 2246 is going to be the next strong target / resistance. Last but not least, our RGTI, it is up 3.81%, piggybacking off of the optimism right now that's happening pre-market. No matter what, though, this is going to move because of CPI. CPI is definitely going to either change people's perception in the short term of risk, and this one definitely is a very speculative play. 20.74% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 57.34 million shares overall are being shorted. With it right now at 1141. It is trading between these 2 points, so this S1 and this S2. So 1126 and 1204 are going to be the next strong target / resistance points. In my opinion, in order for this 12 to be touched, CPI has to be better and come in a lot lower. If not, then yeah, you'll see more of it gravitating towards this S2. But what do I know, right? So let me know your thoughts on these stocks. What's your viewpoint on CPI? Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And then pop over to my Patreon, where I give buy signals on stocks, options, and crypto. Many of them have been absolutely on point and bangers, even calling for this right here. So SMCI stated that it was going to be roughly around that $42 range post earnings, and here we are. So I think definitely worthwhile to pop over to the Patreon. So with all that said, appreciate all of you watching.